Hi, everyone. This is Erica, and I've come to chapter 11 of the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's taken me a little time to get my notes together for this one. I think because of the specific topic, it was a little uncomfortable for me to put this on YouTube, and you'll see why in just a second, because we are at the 10th step towards riches. And remember that when I say riches, I don't just mean money. I could also mean material things. I could mean friendship. I could mean, achievement goals that you have in mind. So it's not just riches, but I do strongly encourage you to read the book. I strongly encourage you to read this chapter yourself. And that's because the 10th step in Think and Grow Rich has to do with transmutation via sex. So because of this particular topic, being such an emotional one and bringing you into a certain state of mind, I do highly suggest that you read it yourself to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. And this is not exactly a topic that I would normally put on my YouTube channel. However, being that it is the 10th step of the book, it took me a few weeks to, I guess, kind of put my thoughts together, but also make the decision to go ahead and do this. I thought if I did not do chapter 11, step 10, that I would be remiss because I'm skipping a whole step. So here we go. Sex is the most powerful desire of human desires. I think everyone would agree with that. And when driven by desire, men and women both develop a keen sense of imagination and courage and willpower, persistence, and creative ability that we don't normally know at any other time. So we all know how strong and compelling some people's desire for sexual contact is. We certainly know how it is for a teenage boy. And this is where willpower comes into play to resist those urges. Of course, desire cannot and should not be shoved aside. It has to be given an outlet through certain forms of expression, which are natural to us as humans. It's a natural thing. And I think that's probably what I finally told myself when I was coming up with the notes to share with you is I just kept telling myself this is a natural human expression. So just go with it. So of all of my study of human nature, if we do not seek and receive these desires, then we will seek them through other channels. For some, for example, that might be diving into excessive exercise. For others, that may be drinking and partying, or excessive eating, or excessive working, being a workaholic. Who knows what it could mean for you or any of those other people that you might know, as we generally don't talk about this too often in our social circles, here, at least here in the United States. Of course, we all know what sex has to do with our lives, and it's continuing mankind, right, through having kids, maintaining our health, and it can even mean transforming and transmitting thoughts into genius ideas, which of course is where Napoleon Hill was going with this. And I know that's what you're thinking is, well, then I need to have more of it. So I'm going to leave that up to you, because that might and might not be the case. But in his book, Napoleon Hill discusses scientific research that he lists as a fact that the men of his time with the greatest achievement level were those with the highly developed sex drive. And those men accumulated great fortunes and achieved outstanding recognition in their industry. And they were all motivated by the influence of their significant other. Apparently, some of the most successful people have thoughts during this transmuted desire to give them ideas in their business or their artwork or their writings. So think of this, that there is 10 mind stimuli that Napoleon Hill tells us about that the human mind responds to. The first is the desire for sex expression. The second is love. The third is a burning desire for fame, power, financial gain. And many of my friends have this stimuli, which is for music. I personally, I'm big on friendship, which is a stimuli as well. More people are also stimulated by a mastermind alliance with 2 or more people that have spoken together about a common goal. And we've actually talked about that in the past videos as well. The 7th stimuli, and I know this sounds a little strange, but it has to do with mutual suffering. So those people that have suffered together through persecution, etc., they come together and they have something in common. The 8th is autosuggestion, and the 9th is fear, which unfortunately drives many of us. And the 10th is narcotics and or alcohol, which also is a very common problem in our country, unfortunately. So think about it like this. When you go to a concert with many people who enjoy the same type of music, obviously that you do because you're all at the same concert, everybody gets really keyed up. Everyone's very enthusiastic, really excited to be there, enjoying the music and responding the same way. Or think of it as a friendship between you and a group of girls or guys that you hang out with, and how you get really excited about going out together, enjoying yourselves. You could even come up with ideas and brainstorm and get really creative together, or just really be happy to be together. You're all keyed up in the same manner. So those 10 stimuli kind of puts it hopefully in perspective for you. So 2 of the things that I mentioned on the list, of course, are destructive, which is fear and the narcotics and or alcohol. Those were items number 9 and 10. So have you ever had an idea just pop out of thin air, just poof, out of thin air, or come to you during a dream? Have you ever thought about where these ideas are even coming from? God, or whatever it is that you might believe in and call your divine source, is possibly sending this out to you. And the other option, of course, is it's coming from your subconscious mind, where something is stored and then it comes out through any one of your 5 senses, or even through your dream or dreams, or just a quick glimpse, just a quick flash in front of your eyes, which is like your imagination we talked about before in the other videos from the previous chapters in this book. So basically, Napoleon Hill is telling us that he does not believe anything called a hunch. He believes that things come to you through inspiration, not through a hunch. When an idea that you're being posed to make a decision on is needed to be done, which I am the world's worst at making decisions, drives me insane. It's one of those things from a personal growth perspective I'm working on. One of the suggestions that he came up with was to close your eyes for 2 to 3 minutes, center your mind before having to make that decision. Carnegie did this whenever he had to make a big decision. That would be Andrew Carnegie, to drop on whatever, and to draw upon, whatever his source of superior intelligence was. So whether it was that he believed in God or it was coming from his own subconscious mind, he would take that 2 to 3 minutes, center himself, and then come up with his solution and make his decision. If you ever have a moment, I encourage you to read about the late Dr. Elmer Gates from Maryland. Of course, again, when this book was written, it was back in the early first kind of 25 years of the 1900s. But he had a personal communication room. And what he did was he went into this room. He had a tablet and a pen. It was not well lit. It was actually very kind of dark. And it was a place where he came up with ideas. He used his creative imagination. He set himself up at this table. He shut everything off and concentrated. He came up with more than 200 patents, and he called it sitting for ideas. Corporations actually hired him to come up with ideas for them. So how do you ask, can you be creative and come up with solutions? Well, first of all, Napoleon Hill suggested that we stimulate our mind so that it vibrates on that higher than average plane by using one of those 10 stimuli that I mentioned earlier. I would not go to items number 9 or 10, which is fear, narcotics, and alcohol, as those are obviously very destructive. I've mentioned that before. And the second is how to be creative and how to come up with solutions, is to concentrate on the factors of whatever it is that you want to achieve. So hold that picture in your mind until it's been taken over by the subconscious. Relax yourself, clear your mind, and wait for your answer to come in front of you. Napoleon Hill in this chapter did mention several people that were very successful used this particular method in their lives very, very successfully. One of the most poignant quotes that I read in the book was on page 77. And by the way, that's this book, because there's a smaller version that's got a smaller print. So depends on which one you have, but it's in this chapter. Basically what it says is, and I'm going to read it verbatim, the world is ruled and the destiny of civilization is established by the human emotions. People are influenced in their actions, not by reason, so much as feelings, and the creative faculty of the mind is set into action entirely by emotions and not by cold reason. The most powerful of all human emotions is that of sex. There are other mind stimulants, some of which may have been listed before, but no one of them, nor all of them combined, can equal the driving power of sex. So there you have it. So this is really interesting, because shortly after that quote that I just read to you, Napoleon talks about a salesman who knows how to take their mind off that subject of that sexual desire and direct it into a sales effort with as much enthusiasm and determination as he would of the art of sex transmutation. And most of the time, those people who are successful in that particular regard probably don't even think about it that way or know what they're doing. Now, it probably goes without saying, as I'm summarizing this chapter for you, that the habit of the desire of sex itself does not mean that you need to run right out and have a ton of it. Certainly, if you do, please be responsible. But definitely read this chapter for yourself, as you will gain more out of it than what I'm summarizing for you. As in all of my videos, this is the case, because the only way for you to get everything out of it is if I was to read the entire chapter word for word. And then the video would be 25 minutes long, and you wouldn't like that and you wouldn't watch. So there you have it. That is chapter 11. That's step 10 to the Think and Grow Rich philosophy. The next one I'm really excited about, which has to do with the subconscious mind. I've been studying this in another book as well, and I'll be summarizing this one for you in future videos, because we're at the last chapter of Think and Grow Rich currently. But the next one will be putting the power of your subconscious mind to work. And I'm about 3/4 of the way through this one. So I'm really excited about this one, because Dr. Joseph Murphy did a really good job of putting it into great format for me to be able to read, understand, and then to be able to pass along to you. So that being said, be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and make it a great one. And I hope that you had a great holiday. Thanks so much. Bye.